for the fans. The glory for the pinstripes.
Ladies and gentlemen, New York Yankees fans, it's with a racing heart that I bring you the latest news straight from our hallowed Yankee Stadium. For anyone who followed the start of this season closely, you know that Gian Carlo Stanton, yes, our Martian, carried on his shoulders not only the weight of wearing the heaviest uniform in baseball, but also the expectation of being the prodigy promised since the minor leagues. I distinctly remember the whispers of concern, the skeptical glances with every strikeout, every hit that didn't find the field. It was a heavy burden, a test of any fan's patience. And what if I told you that it was precisely when all seemed lost that the spark ignited in the corridors of Yankee Stadium? Some swear that Aaron Boone fought a silent battle. It wasn't just about giving him a vote of confidence. It was about backing our guy while every strikeout brought a new round of questions from the New York press. The Post Sports didn't hold back. 3 hits in 36 right-handed at-bats, an OPS of .381, and 16 strikeouts against lefties until May 5th. Can you imagine the pressure in New York, where every statistic becomes a headline? This performance would have benched many veterans, but Boone looked forward. He hadn't set the world on fire, but Boone said that another day some people laughed. But that line hides a warning. Anyone who truly understands baseball knows this. When a manager keeps using "but," it's because he sees something others don't, and more people are betting on him. Jazz Chisholm Jr., who knows what it's like to carry high expectations too early, was one of the first to pat the kid on the back. Max Fried, on the other side of the mound, also said he sees talent that just needs time. But time is the one thing in short supply in the Bronx. If there's one place where patience is a luxury, it's here. And Gian Carlo had no choice. After rigorous spring training, he became a left fielder, a position that requires a different read of the game, more confidence in his arm, another way of understanding every ball that slices through the Bronx sky. It's almost poetic. The kid, still figuring things out at the plate, had to reinvent himself on defense just to keep breathing. And it's not just any left field, it's Yankee Stadium, where every mistake becomes a trending topic before the ball even hits the glove. The turnaround happened quietly, but those who paid attention saw it. In his last 7 games, Gian Carlo is hitting about .471. Almost surreal for someone who carried a .381 OPS just a few weeks ago. The kid racked up 8 hits and 5 runs per game, with 4 getting him his first big league goal. And most importantly, it's a different look in the batter's box. You can see it in his stance. He's not trying to crush the world with one swing now. He's playing a game, he's adjusting. At the end of the day, that's what separates those who will be remembered from those who will fade away. But, as with every good Yankee story, there's always a rumor whispering in the background. The same club that's lifting Gian Carlo on their shoulders today quietly promoted their top outfield prospect to AAA Scranton Wilkes Barre this week. Coincidence? Anyone on the inside almost never knows coincidence exists. If Gian Carlo stalls again, there's already someone warming up the bat to take his place. Baseball is cruel like that. It's a silent rotation of names that go from promise to question mark, and in the end to a footnote in the statistics. And if we think about how many have gone through this, Clint Frazier, Miguel Andujar, how many overhyped kids couldn't sustain an entire summer under the bright lights of the Bronx? That's why this Gian Carlo turnaround is different for those who truly love the game, because it's not just a hitting streak, it's a crazy battle. It's the kid who knows every inning could be his last chance, and you can't ignore the parallel with Judge. The same Judge, who is now a giant mural at the entrance of Yankee Stadium, was once ridiculed for endless strikeouts. He was once called a freak who couldn't control his power, but he persevered, and fans want to believe that Gian Carlo can be that next chapter, the unofficial heir to that "don't bury me too soon" mentality. The question is, will it last? What if this outburst is just another flash that disappears when a road trip comes around? What if the next time he faces a dominant left-handed pitcher, he goes back to being an easy out? And what if deep down the Yankees front office has already decided the future of the outfield will come from Scranton, not the Bronx? That's what makes this story so fascinating, because every great comeback carries a taste of fear, and every promise has a clock that never stops ticking. Can you imagine the scene? Bases loaded, tight game, Gian Carlo at the plate, the entire crowd on their feet. That's where a Yankee Stadium hero is born or dies. So I ask, if you were Aaron Boone, Do you let the kid bleed and learn, or protect the lineup by bringing in another name? That's the cruel beauty of baseball. It's too human to have an easy answer. And that's where Gian Carlo's story connects, almost like a reflection, with the quietest but equally vital part of this Yankees team, the bullpen. Because in the end, there's no point in having a kid rising from the ashes in left field if, when it's time to lock down a win, there isn't a steady arm to shut the door. That's what has haunted the Bronx for years. A powerful lineup, a competent defense, but when it's the bullpen's time to decide the game, confidence is always a razor's edge. The numbers speak for themselves. The Yankees bullpen has the 7th best ERA in all of baseball. That's a statistic worth waiting for, no doubt. Luke Weaver and Devin Williams now form a duo that brings order when the score tightens. But anyone who has lived through an October in the Bronx knows that a beautiful flaw in June means nothing when October's pressure starts breathing down every player's neck. It's a different game, different temperature, different demand. October doesn't forgive those who hide behind numbers. And in this scenario, the rumor that's fueling debates in bars, podcasts, and WhatsApp groups, Gregory Soto. The idea started with Lucas Babbage of Fangraphs, but it has already gained traction among insiders. Sodto, now with the Baltimore Orioles, has revived his career with a 3.41 ERA in 35 games after a few unreliable seasons with an ERA above 4.5. But more than that, he's a 2-time All-Star. That's nothing. Anyone who knows baseball knows that having a left-handed specialist in Yankee Stadium can be the difference between an innocent ground ball and a devastating home run that silences 40,000 voices. Imagine the scene. Game 6 of the ALCS. Yankees winning by 1 run. The opposing lineup brings their best left-handed hitter. Boone, tired of improvising, signals to the bullpen. Weaver exits, Sodto enters. First pitch, brutal sinker cut in the lower zone. Second, a slider like a blade. 48% whiff rate. Almost half the swings become thin air. Strikeout. The crowd erupts. It's from moments like these that every extra arm becomes pure gold when October arrives. But what intrigues me in all of his story is how the pieces connect. While Gian Carlo is finally showing why he was called the Martian since the minors, relearning the stroke from both sides, mastering the left field run as if every hit is a test of survival, the Yankees front office is looking to the future and thinking, we can't waste this kid's effort. We can't let a season that finally shows promise slip away due to a lack of depth on the mound. But bringing in Sodto isn't simple. It will cost prospects. It will spark internal debate, especially since Baltimore is a division rival. Some think it's heresy to make a deal with the Orioles, but let's be honest, they're ready to sell. They're out of the race and have already signaled that the deadline will be a liquidation. Sodto will become a free agent as soon as the year ends. It's now or never, and that now or never echoes like a mantra in the Bronx. It's the same mentality that kept Gian Carlo in the lineup when half the fan base was already calling for him to be sent back to Scranton. It's the same courage Boone had to say, let the kid bleed and learn. Because deep down, that's what makes a championship team, having the courage to bet when everything says not to bet. And if we look at the rivals, the Tampa Bay Rays are right there breathing down their necks. Toronto Blue Jays, a hot streak, and they're backing it. A house of cards, a reliable bullpen can be the foundation that keeps everything standing. An exposed bullpen can bring down even the most feared lineup. And here's the drama. Do you trust what you have, or do you pay the price to secure what's missing? Because some say Weaver and Williams are more than enough. For some, I believe Devin Williams' experience as a closer is enough to lock down a Game 7. But anyone who has seen the series decided by a single hit, a walk, a command error, knows you can never have too many arms. And what if Sodto doesn't come? What if in the end he ends up in Tampa? Have you imagined that nightmare? Seeing Sodto dominating lefties for a direct rival, helping the Rays silence the Bronx in October. It's the kind of scenario that keeps Yankees fans awake at night. Meanwhile, Gian Carlo continues to write his own redemption story. Each of his successes is a reminder that the championship window is open, but not forever. It's almost poetic to see the kid who wasn't supposed to be there exciting the bat with more confidence, while behind him, Weaver, Williams, and perhaps Sodto hold the final line. And if you close your eyes, you can see the bases loaded. 8th inning, the Bronx roaring. Gian Carlo does his part and extends the lead. The bullpen enters the defense like guardians of the medieval wall. That's how legends are born. That's how an ordinary season becomes eternal. In the end, there's this question that echoes in every mind that loves this game. Do you trust what you have? Or do you push it to the limit to bring every piece that can make a difference when there's no more room for error? Because the Bronx doesn't forgive October. Much less leave a comment. What would you do if you were a general manager, Sodto? Or hold on to prospects? All about Weaver and Williams. This team is a ticking time bomb of possibilities, and every rumor, every piece of insider information is a new chapter. So subscribe, stay tuned, because when the next arm arrives, you won't know every detail here. Every inning is a movie, and with the Yankees, my friend, you never know the ending until the last swing.